side, Ryan? I have a local. Okay, there we go. We are live and recording. This is the Rebel Dividends Investor Update. Today is Tuesday, February 27th, 2024. A few slides not included in the email. So yesterday, this should have shown 52 days to the Bitcoin halving, and it jumped to 51 and a half. So the halving date is accelerating, and everything's really looking extremely good. A lot of news to cover. But again, remember the Bitcoin halving cycles have led to face melting shots higher to the price of Bitcoin, typically double, triple, quadruple in a very short period of time. So we're getting very close to that period. And there's a major difference in this halving cycle compared to all others. We have essentially accelerating capital flowing in via ETFs through the $100 trillion stock market. And each week they continue to beat records. Analysts are moving up expectations. So we could very likely, in my best guess, break all-time highs for Bitcoin before the halving cycle, especially if this all continues. There seems to be some unreported legal news that's created this big push this week related to Uniswap, which I'll cover in more detail, but a lot of good things happening. It's official, the new 9 Bitcoin ETFs have broken all-time volume records today. That was yesterday with 2.4 billion, just barely beating day one, but about to double their recent daily average. Okay, and a lot of people are worried that we're going to have a big flash in the pan, lots of volume in the first few days, and then no follow through. What we've seen is that typically retail goes all in as prices are going to extreme highs, and they're very bearish when prices are low. And we're seeing this in the volume data. We're nowhere near the recent highs in volume at Coinbase, and the institutional players are having a very slow but steady ramp up leading into the Bitcoin halving cycle. And we still have interest rates sky high. So between interest rates falling over the next 2, possibly 4 to 5 years, I think it's going to be a very slow fall. So this could actually elongate this cycle because the government's running such a high deficit and has to turn over so much debt that I don't see interest rates really falling very quickly this year. They'll probably force them down slightly with some rate cuts, but the magnitude of the debt to be rolled over this year is about $10 trillion. So it's just astronomical, which means there's low expectations for bonds to go up, and it forces you to put your money into stocks, cryptocurrencies, things of that nature. So here's the record volume. You can see the only time we were close to that was on the opening day. What exactly happened between last Thursday and this weekend we'll cover, but it looks like the SEC is going to settle with Coinbase. I'm guessing here, but the reason I'm guessing that is because Uniswap made a change to how they reward token holders of Uni that would indicate that Coinbase is probably going to win this legal battle. I'll cover that in more detail. Uniswap, the largest decentralized trading protocol, proposed on Friday to financially reward its holders, leading to a 50% increase in its token. Jumped up as much as 75, came back a little bit, but this is going to be a good position to hold in companies like this and competing companies. What does it teach us? Crypto assets must turn into yield-generating assets. Here's that huge price jump, and again, went up to 12, trading about 11 as of this chart. Just in, MicroStrategy buys an additional 3,000 Bitcoin, 155 million. Okay, we got a big upgrade coming. Ethereum's Dinkin upgrade is just a few weeks away. It might reduce the gas fees on layer 2 by 10 to 100 times. The upgrade is scheduled for March 13th. Here are the projected gas fees for swapping on a DEX on Optimism, Arbitrum, Starknet, Polygon, ZK EVM, and ZK Sync. So you can see the main net's not going to be affected on this, but the layer 2 is big time. So Starknet's dropping from $1.16 to 12 cents, Optimism from 38 to 4, Arbitrum from 26 to 3, Polygon from 24 to 2. So companies like Solana, AVAX, Injective, Cardano, Polkadot, a lot of their competitive advantage is about to be dramatically reduced with this upgrade coming in. So very important to keep that in mind. Nearly 30 million Ethereum are being used as programmable collateral to secure Ethereum. That's over $90 billion in value. That is not even counting additional uses of Ethereum as programmable money or collateral in DeFi. And it's important that Ethereum does have this expensive mainnet. If there's someone trying to attack the network, that cost on Ethereum is going to skyrocket higher and clog the system and make it very difficult to do an attack. So a lot of the big money that might be laid out in certain types of financial arrangements, like Aave, for example, could be on the Ethereum mainnet where it's safer, and smaller deals and smaller transactions can be rolled out on layer 2, and each layer 2 has very specific use cases being programmed into it. A huge advantage for Ethereum compared to all its competitors. Raul Paul says, I've been telling you institutions are coming in. Galaxy now up to 8 billion in assets under management. ETFs on their way to 6 billion and many more players growing assets too. And we've only just got started. 3 major developments happening in the next 3 months that most investors aren't aware of. 1, March 2024, Ethereum's Duncan upgrade. 2, April 24th, mid-April 2024, the Bitcoin halving. And then in May, Ethereum ETF decisions. A lot of people are hopeful that could happen this year, but some people are saying the complexities of Ethereum ETFs are much more difficult to get past, especially if you're going to take the capital and stake it, because it now creates income. So we'll see. I don't have a firm opinion on this, but I do think people will start front running the ETF news like they did for Bitcoin. Whether it's this year or next year, we'll have to pay close attention to what the SEC writes back in May in terms of all the applications already sitting in there. Now, I expect a lot of companies to start doing this. Corporations and individual investors are sitting in about $10 trillion cash in money markets. And now they're starting to diversify that into other holdings. Reddit says they have invested excess cash into Bitcoin and Ethereum, may continue to do so in the future. And it's not just corporations, it's also sovereign nations starting to do this.
Jason, just really quick, on that point, I cannot recall. So, just real quick to you guys. So, Reddit is not quite publicly traded. It's getting ready to do its IPO right now. Jason, have you heard of another Fortune 500 company that's putting Ethereum on their balance sheet? I know Tesla did Bitcoin. Obviously, MicroStrategy has a bunch of Bitcoin.
Yeah, I
Can
think
you
Ethereum's
recall?
new. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, it's a first time, and it's not quite publicly traded yet, guys, but it's gonna be. Um, and yeah, super, super intelligent and really powerful family too. The founder of Reddit's actually married to Venus Williams, and yeah, they're very predominant investors in Florida.
And I think Sam
Um,
Altman just picked up a huge chunk of Reddit also, and also obviously created the WorldCoin and big on cryptocurrencies also.
nice, very nice. Yeah, I just wanted to touch base on that. I didn't know, and I hadn't asked you yet, so just figured I'd do
Yeah,
it in
we're
front of the crowd
super,
here.
super early on Ethereum. The headwinds for Bitcoin are just far greater than Ethereum currently, so you're still far, far ahead of the curve if you're getting into Ethereum right now. Okay, so we've continued to have some pretty strong data economically, especially with ISM levels picking back up. Um, it's looking like the entire global economy is going to really start to ramp up into summer, which could create some inflation, which again is bad for bonds, good for stocks. And this is what Goldman has now pushed its expectations that there will be 4 rate cuts 2024. That may be a lot. That it'll begin in June and an additional 4 in 2025. So we'll just have to see how these CPIs play out. But again, both Biden and Trump want to run massive deficits, huge spending, and cut interest rates. So again, in general, bad for bonds, great for stocks, and excellent for cryptocurrencies. Now, if they force the bond market lower while running these great deficits, which they probably need to, if they don't cut rates and we have to refinance our entire debt currently, Jeffrey Gundlach had a piece just last week. If we don't cut rates and just refinance the 34 trillion in debt, it'll become 50% of our tax receipts, which is just unfathomable, currently at 8%. So whether they like it or not, they're going to have to cut interest rates here. Here's a big Bitcoin guy, Balaji. He was famous with that $1 million bet. Obviously didn't play out. But good point here. Local newspapers once had geographic advantage. The internet changed that. Most papers died, a few survived in weakened state, and everyone got a voice. Local fiat currencies once had geographic advantage. Bitcoin is changing that. Most fiat currencies will die, a few will survive in weakened state, and everyone will get a choice. The first billion are making that choice for Bitcoin now. Okay, this is just to give you a feel for how early we are in this cycle. As soon as you got Coinbase at the top of the charts in the Apple Store, and this is breaking new records for retail trading volumes, probably going to be a good time to start taking some massive profits and getting ready to short this puppy. But you can see 177 billion in Q4 of 2021 compared to 39 billion. So we're just getting started. Okay, Bill says, can you give me a difference between layer 1 and layer 2 products and the significance to Ethereum? Yeah, great. So the whole point of blockchain is to have trustless transactions where you don't have a central authority that can manipulate the data. And just to give you a feel for how much of a joke this is with something like Solana, they've had to reset the network like 12 times. So clearly someone
11
can turn it.
times.
Yeah, so they can turn it on and off at any point.
Not a blockchain.
So yeah, Solana is kind of a joke in a lot of ways as far as the main goal of this product. They do have lots of developers, lots of apps, lots of money behind them, extremely low transaction fees. But it's clearly got some centralized forces that kind of make it a joke. Ethereum is really cool. So Ethereum has the expensive fee on the main net, which will dramatically increase in high volume. So just to give you a feel for that, we added about 1.4 million Ethereum yesterday and 1.2 million last week at Aave. And the cost, and we're running the big loan on the Ethereum mainnet just because, like I said, it's safer. But anyways, the volume's been picking up week over week. And the cost to create the contract jumped from $40 to $80 to do basically the exact same transaction in 1 week. And that's just because the trading volume is picking up. So if anyone were to try to attack the network, and they call it a 51 attack, the cost to do a transaction on Ethereum would go up exponentially and make it virtually an infinite cost to pull that off. And the Bitcoin network's even more secure. Proof of work is even better at doing that. So Bitcoin solution to that is very similar to Ethereum's. They're just 5-7 years behind on the software and the code, but they came out with the Lightning Network to try to create essentially the same thing as what we're seeing with Polygon, Arbitrum, Optimism, and Starknet. So for specific use cases where you trust all the people involved with and you're not worried about a big hack, you can do parts of your trading or your transactions on layer 2 where it's less secure, but it's with a smaller group of people and less money at risk. And if there's something much larger and bigger at stake, you do it on the mainnet. Okay, and Solana just doesn't have that, or really anyone else compared to Ethereum at this point in time. Does that make sense? So layer 2 can be developed for very specific use cases, whether it's a video game or a store or a decentralized exchange or bridging money from one place to another. There's just so many different examples of how it can be specifically designed. It gets very, very technical once you look at the differences between how Arbitrum and Optimism work. And there's some great content out there that go into detail, just comparing, for example, Polygon, Arbitrum, and Optimism. They definitely all work very differently. Okay, so there's a lot of emails getting released in some sort of court hearing. I haven't dived into them, but a lot of the early discussions about Bitcoin have been released to the public. And anyway, it'll be funny. I guess at 225,000 priced Bitcoin, with the stock market not moving, of course, if we hit that level of a Bitcoin, I'd expect the stock market to go up. But at $225,000, assuming no one else's net worth went up, Satoshi Nakamoto become the richest person in the world with the wallet that we've seen. whoever that is. Okay, moving back to the email content. Let's see, people asking if people have used Ethereum or Bitcoin to purchase Scooter service. Well, yeah, you can put your Bitcoin on a Visa credit card, just use it normally. So you can have the growing asset and use it as credit to make purchases. Okay, so yeah, the whole world's still priced in dollars. Okay, anyway, highly endorsed. We really recommend for the next 6 months, reinvest your dividends, grow your share base rapidly, then switch back to dividends. I would do that after Bitcoin has broken well into new highs. That way your weekly income will be dramatically higher. Of course, that's completely optional. You can turn it on and off as you wish. Important update, please do not label your bank wires with any of these words: crypto investment, dividends, Rebel dividends. Doing so could jeopardize your account and ours. As you know, banks hate us because especially Ethereum is extremely competitive with the entire financial industry. And they're slowly but surely doing a better job at everything from lending to insurance to just about anything you can imagine. Performance summary. Share price as of Monday was at 0.00805. Ethereum weekly return was 13.86%. We didn't hit double yesterday, but today we sure did. Or yesterday and today we're doing even better because again, on our leverage positions that Solve Maxwell's running, we're diversifying the portfolio into competing assets to Ethereum. And Ethereum just kicked everything's butt last week. This week, Bitcoin and everything else is catching up rapidly. So we had a really nice return day over day and continuing to do so today. Our weekly return was 19.33%. Today's price jumped to 0.00849. Ethereum's gain yesterday was 3.48%, and we made 7.12% as of this morning, and Bitcoin's broke 57,000 earlier. So it's looking really good. That's a 1.24% dividend or 0.0001 cent per share. And again, we're going to be a little stingy with dividends so we get the share price as high as possible, the assets under management as high as possible, so that when we do get to around the end of 2025, when we're currently expecting a local top, we'll have as much money as possible to switch to a safe strategy and create consistent dividends for us when we're not seeing our share price accelerate up so quickly. Outstanding shares are at 1.221 billion shares. Portfolio values at 9.642 million. This was as of yesterday. Last night, I added $1.4 million worth of Ethereum, 3,986 Ethereum, worth 12.58. I think we're just shy of 15 million now. Leverage long position. Yesterday was at 1.8 million. Today it jumped to 2 million. We're pulling $500,000 into cash to buy the dip if we get one. And we're about to deleverage from 7 times long Bitcoin to less leverage. If you recall, I was predicting 57,000 would be a sticky point to take some profits and then roll into altcoins. So we're going to be in a massive basket of altcoins with 3 times leverage down to 2 times leverage. Bigger positions in the larger market cap like Solana and other top 25 market cap coins. And then we'll go into even smaller positions. So we're going to have a very, very wide net. I believe we're going to soon see some of these micro cap cryptocurrencies outperform Bitcoin by multiples of 10 in the next 6 months. So with those, you got to have a lot less leverage so you can withstand volatility. And again, we're hoping this leverage long position can grow massively for us under the management of Solve. Loan health, yesterday's at 1.13. It's jumped a lot. Last night it was at 1.19. So I added to our position. Right now it's at 1.15. As of yesterday, we would have to protect the loan at 2,746 Ethereum. Total dividends paid in 2022 was 2.256 million. Last year we hit 4.759 million. And this year, 2 months in, we're already at 1.08 million. So if you carry that forward, we're looking at 6 million in dividends this year compared to 4.7. That's if we continue to be stingy and don't increase shares. So again, of course, we want to slowly increase that. We'll keep it above 1%. So if the share price goes up another 20%, that would take your dividend at this current rate to 1%. So again, we won't go below that. So you can see that weekly income still go up this year while we're being a little stingy to, again, get assets under management as large as possible during the bull market. Okay, portfolio update. We continue to add to our Ethereum position, leverage long Bitcoin position, and now we're spreading about $1 million into dozens of altcoins. I actually decided when I wrote this, we hadn't quite hit the 57 target, but we have now. We're also going to be at ETH Denver with our staff this weekend. So if you're going to be there, let us know. We'll try to meet you in the conference or for lunch. But while we're gone, we're going to pretty low leverage. So anywhere from 3 times down to 2 times, huge cash position. And then we can look at being a little more aggressive next week. The Bitcoin halving event is now approximately only 51.5 days away. As Bitcoin breaks above 50,000, likely finds new resistance around 57. And then again, after that, we think 69. We'll begin rotating from being leveraged primarily long Bitcoin into altcoins, and again, dropping that leverage down dramatically. Here's the catch-up trade. Bitcoin market cap has grown massively while the altcoins have really not caught up. Altcoins can typically outperform Bitcoin by multiples of 10 during peak returns in a bull market. That's what we're getting ready for. We're continuing to airdrop aggressively. We're weaving $250,000 through 27 wallets to get the maximum reward for ZK EVM airdrop. And then there's we got 2 people doing airdrops now, Vanessa and Angelica, both running about 25 wallets, targeting different airdrops with different strategies. And again, we're expecting those to hit during the peak mania. So this could be a really good few months coming up for Q3 and Q4. I'd expect most of these companies to do their airdrops and hit the peak conditions in the market when we go into the halving cycle after April. We're now implementing nodes for airdrops. Node operators not only benefit from the potential revenue generated from mining tokens, but also contribute to the security and development of the Ethereum network and all these other networks that are launching that we're trying to get airdrops on. And Solana nodes made up to $500,000. So we're doing this for pretty much every airdrop possible in each of our wallets over the next few months here. So those 2 girls are extremely busy. Dividend this week was $153,888 with an 80-20 split between shareholders and a 2% fee on new shares sold. Macro commentary. The bond market will remain unattractive this year as U.S. runs a large fiscal deficit and is forced to refinance $10 trillion of its debt at ultra-high interest rates. Now, I do think the Fed will force the bond market to look better by cutting interest rates in June, regardless of what inflation's doing. So I think inflation is going to go flat and slowly fall. And if they were only concerned about inflation, they should keep rates higher, but it's not feasible because of our massive debt problem. So I think they're going to have to essentially raise the inflation target and cut interest rates. Again, not the best thing for bonds, but really freaking good for cryptocurrencies. And I also think this will be a political bias to help stocks in the 2024 election. Bill saying, what's going on with the conservative yield farm product? It's doing really good. It's hit 15.7%. Big dividend going out today. We did it today instead of Thursday. And yeah, so if you got some extra cash that you want to have less risk on and create income with, definitely reach out to Dean. DeFi Income's doing really, really well. And just had a very large dividend today. I don't recommend moving any money from Rebel dividends for at least a year and a half, because you guys have been through a lot, and to pull out now would be really a bad decision. But if you have cash in NVIDIA that you want to pull out, that's a smart idea. If you have any FNGU or NVIDIA, probably a good time to take some profits. We got pretty much all the big dogs selling at the top. JP Morgan CEO sold. Jeff Bezos just sold $6 billion. Nvidia, you got a massive gain in there. If you want somewhere to place those profits safely, definitely a smart move. Go ahead, Dean.
Oh yeah, and I was just gonna say to you guys, had a conversation with someone that bought in basically kind of early 2023 the other day, guys. Um, Look, guys, if you did buy in kind of earlier, back when crypto prices were higher than they are today, the best thing you can do, to get a lot of return for over the next year and a half, like Jason was saying, almost 2 years, grab some more shares now. I know a lot of people, kind of bought in a little bit early when crypto prices were higher. But I just want to reiterate, guys, it's the best time now to double up your position. Look, everyone we had come in Q4 is extremely profitable of last year and starting to see some $500,000 profits, $250,000 profits, and actually, I believe what should be our first seven-figure profit at this time. So, yeah, guys, this is the time to add. Jason just outlaid all of the macro factors in front of you, right? We have that technical upgrade with the Deacon upgrade for Ethereum. That's coming probably second or third week of March. Last Ethereum upgrade was insanely bullish for ETH. And then you have the Bitcoin halving, which every cycle that's been extremely bullish running up into that halving and then after as well. And then we have rate cuts coming in June, and then probably into 2025. So, we probably have a good year and a half to 2 years left on this run, guys. Wonderful time to place that. Bill, the minimum investment on DeFi income is $10,000. And yeah, it's last time I crunched the math on it. I'm telling people it's looking to yield 40% a year, probably about a 20% volatility range, very similar to a US Treasury product that you can get from your bank or your brokerage, right? They can kind of wiggle 20% either way. And at the end of the year, you're kind of hoping for about an 8% yield. I think DeFi income, Bill, will probably have the same volatility range. I think within kind of 20% to the downside would kind of be like the max. And I think it should yield more like 40% a year. So basically 5 times greater in what you can get from a treasury bond. Now, guys, a lot of people too have been taking money out of CDs. A lot of people have been taking money out of savings to replace that because here's the sad truth at the end of the day, guys, real inflation's 18% a year since 2020. That's the hard and fast truth of what today is. So if you are in a money market earning 5%, or if you're in a bank account sitting at 3%, the sad truth is, guys, is you're going backwards. So if you do want to replace, kind of that 1 year, I call it the 1 year runway. That's what I was just telling Connor on our call. Look, what I do, guys, is I get a 1 year runway of cash that I have just in case all S hits the fan. I'm in some type of disaster. I want to have those bills laid out for my my wife and kids for that next year until I get on my feet. Okay. But outside of that, guys, I take every red cent I have and invest it. And I hate holding that 1 year runway, but that's something that just absolutely goes with everything I've ever learned with investing. So I held that 1 year runway, but anything outside of that, guys, if you're in my shoes, you have that 1 year runway saved up, put the other money to work. It's the best thing you can ever do for yourself. And again, your savings rate at the bank giving you 3% is not going to let you go forward, unfortunately. So, just a heads up on that, and just want to basically relay some of the conversations I've had recently and help some people out there maybe think about where they're at today. So, cool.
Beautiful. Okay, so we are headed to ETH Denver tomorrow, and we're going to let all the positions ride at Portfolio Builder. Still scared to short NVIDIA, but I do think we'll sell that position next week, the FNGU. There's a good catch-up trade with some Chinese leverage plays that are interesting. Interested in Boyle, and then Coinbase obviously hitting 200. Very good pick for us. So for now, we're letting the portfolio ride, but expect a PB webinar next week. And again, probably most likely this exact same dividend until the share price is above a penny. Once we go above a penny, we could start inching up that dividend a little bit higher. So thank you guys so much. We'll see you back next week, same place, same time. Any last questions before we close out the webinar? Okay, great. Well, thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Dean. Thank you, investors. We'll see you back next week, same place, same time.